Hello and welcome to this short video on taking notice. This is part of our Caring for Yourself series of short videos. Quick hello from us. We are from Team Boo, and what we do at Boo is we support organisations to be the happiest and healthiest they can be, and we do that through three main initiatives. So we do that through coaching, through leadership and well-being. Today we're going to be looking at the concept of taking notice, what that means and how to practice this. One of the things that we can do to care for ourselves is to be aware of how we are, to understand where our energy is at the moment. And a really useful way of thinking about that is through the well-being grid. Now, when we are in a space where we have high and positive energy, this is called our performance space. We feel great in this space. We feel quite efficient. We're getting things done. We're able to concentrate on things. We're quite collaborative in this space. We're quite creative in this space as well. And we find that things, all those challenges that come along, they still happen, but we find that we're easily able to deal with those challenges. We find solutions to those. We're a little bit more patient with people. We're a little bit more fun in this space as well. And we tend to look after our well-being a little bit more in this space. We tend to be a little bit more aware of how we're feeling in this space. We tend to take on a little bit too much in this space, however, because we're feeling confident, because we're feeling competent, we say yes a lot more and we take on a lot more. That might lead us to be in our stress space. So we've still got that high energy, but we might be starting to feel a little bit negative. Maybe we've said yes to a lot of things. We might have a lot of things on our plate. And some of the common things that people start to experience in this stress space is maybe a little bit of overwhelm, maybe feeling a lot of that pressure, maybe feeling like you can't see the wood through the trees. There's too much to do, so you don't know where to start. I know when I'm in that space, I find it really difficult to concentrate and to focus on things because I'm constantly picking up something and putting it down and picking up the next thing and putting it down. That can also lead to our inner critic getting a little bit higher. So instead of being able to rationally say, I've taken on too much, we can tell ourselves things like, I'm not good enough or I'm not able to do these things, which is just that little bit trickier, and it tends to take up a little bit more of our energy. We feel stress in our bodies as well. So when we are experiencing stress, there's a hormone called cortisol that starts rising in our system. And this can lead us to feel stress. So things like headaches, things like tummy upsets. We find our heart rate pumps a lot faster because we're pumping blood around our body. So we tend to feel that stress a lot. It's really useful to start noticing what you think, what you kind of experience for yourself. So what do you notice when you're in that performance space? What do you notice about yourself in that stress space? What kind of things trigger you to get into that stress space? And what do you notice happens for you when you're in that stress space? If we are in that stress space for too long, we might end up in the space called burnout. So here's where we would have negative and low energy. We will absolutely need some support in this space, whether that's through medication, whether it's through talking therapies, but it absolutely will be through some renewal. Now, our renewal are lovely activities, things like getting outside, having a walk, having some relaxing time, maybe having a bath, connecting with others. All of those things that help to top us back up and help to get us back into that performance space. One of the areas of renewal is through taking notice, and that's what the focus of this webinar is going to be on. How can we be present in our day? How can we be aware of what is going on for us and help ourselves reduce that stress and help us to be in that performance space as much as possible? mean by taking notice? Taking notice helps us to live in the here and now, to be focused and present on the task at hand or the people we're talking to or the situation we're in. We can often go days, weeks and months without stopping, just kind of keep going and not actually having time to think about what's going on in our present lives. We spend actually about 48% of our lives either thinking about the past or planning for the future or worrying about the future. And we actually spend so much time not thinking about what's going on at the current time. Our brain likes to live a little bit on autopilot. It likes to look for patterns and look for things that are familiar, and because it's a little bit easier to process. And so actually by taking notice, what we're doing is we're becoming more connected to our body and our mind. We're becoming more connected to what is happening for us. And what that can do is that can help us to stop things like ruminating, and it can help us to be more mindful and to reduce some of the cortisol that we experience when we're in stress. Here's one of our favourite tools at Boo for helping to connect and to be present with how you are feeling. This is the life tree. There are a number of characters that are in a tree here. They've all got different facial expressions. They're all doing something slightly different. Now take a moment and just think, where would you place yourself right now? Of all of these characters, which one represents you the most? Then think about, where would you like to be? Which of those characters would you like to be? And what small steps can you take towards getting there? This is just a lovely way of connecting with how we are feeling. We can use this with others too. Have a conversation with each other about how you're feeling. Find out what's going on for that individual and find out what's going on for yourself as well. Some people have used this as a team as well, so using it as a bit of a check-in or a bit of a check-out with each other, or maybe even in your one-to-ones, just to take a moment to think about your well-being and how you are doing. It's a really lovely tool to reflect on how we're feeling without actually having to use the words, "How are you feeling?" Some other really lovely ways of being connected to the moment is using breathing techniques. On the screen at the moment you can see a star, and a really nice breathing technique is to imagine a star or to have one with you and to follow the edges where you'll breathe in as you're going up one of the sides, hold at the top and breathe out. You then follow that round for the whole of the star, which gives you an opportunity to take a few deep breaths. Other techniques to help us stay in the moment. There is also square breathing, where you imagine a square and you breathe in as you go up one side of the square, breathe out as you go through the other side, breathe in on the third side and breathe out on the final side. Again, just giving you a bit of guidance in terms of having some deep breaths. We've got here also, "I am calm," and this is an affirmation. Now, using affirmations can be really useful to help us to connect with some qualities about ourselves, to remind us of some of those wonderful qualities that we have, and to dedicate our thought process to ourselves. You can use apps to give you some affirmations. Why don't you ask a friend about some of the lovely things that they think about you, or find things that feel right for you? Even just breathing to the count of 10 gives you a couple of seconds out of your day to focus on calming yourself down. You could also do some finger breathing, where you have your hand out in front of you and you start at the base of one of your fingers. You breathe in for as long as it takes you to trace all the way up your finger. Hold when you get to the top of your finger, and then breathe out as you trace along your finger till it takes you to get to the base of your finger. You can do this 5 times with all of your fingers on one hand, or even 10 times as well. These just give you some space to connect with yourself. Is also a really wonderful way of staying present. And when we are talking about mindfulness, we are trying to connect with what's going on around us. So you can use mindfulness in any different practice. The key here is to connect with your senses. So whether it's through mindful walking, whether it's through mindful eating, maybe even mindful showering or mindful commuting to work. But as you're doing these activities, try to notice what's going on for you. So think of your senses, think about what you can hear, what you can see, what you can smell, what you can taste, and what you can feel. There are a number of questions that we've got on the screen that you can ask yourself whilst you're outside or whilst you're walking or doing any of these activities. The key here is to do things like a practice. If we were going to run a 5K tomorrow, I don't know about you, but I definitely wouldn't be able to just wake up and run a 5K. I'd need to practice. So I'd need to do maybe 1K for a day, then maybe walk a little bit, and then maybe 2K, and I'd build up that practice. And it's the same when it comes to our well-being. It's the same when it comes to practicing mindfulness or practicing breathing and connecting to ourselves. If we do a little bit and often, so a little bit every single day, we'll build up our practice and we'll be able to see the benefits of doing that. So a quick reminder on everything we've been to today. A regular practice helps to form a habit. Work with others, maybe use the life tree with other people to check in on yourself and others. Try a range of different mindful activities to see what works for you. Try to see everything as a learning opportunity and reflect daily, check in with yourself and be kind to yourself. If you're struggling on where to start, have a look at the Action for Happiness calendars. They'll give you a little tip every single day to get you started in terms of thinking of your well-being. There are also some great apps out there. So Calm and Headspace do some guided breathing, guided mindfulness, guided meditation. They also do some sleep stories to help you connect with your sleep. If you are feeling in crisis or anybody around you is not okay, the app called Hub of Hope enables you to pop your postcode in and it shows you all of the support services nearby. Finally, just take one moment today to think of something small that you can do to help prioritize your well-being. Thank you so much for joining us for this video. All of our social media handles are on the screen at the moment. We would love for you to come and be our friends and let us know how you're getting on. Thank you.